Before we begin, a warm thank you to all our lovely subscribers and viewers. Your love, your support, your thoughtful comments, they mean the world to us. If this is your first time here, welcome to the family. Please take a moment to kindly subscribe, like, and share. Your support encourages us to keep bringing you heartfelt stories that touch the soul. Thank you so much, and let's dive into one of the most emotional stories you'll hear today. It was a day like no other. The world seemed to pause for just a moment, and hearts quietly leaned in when word began to spread that Cha Eun Woo, currently serving in the military, had written a birthday letter to none other than Moon Ga-young. A letter that many would soon call the most heartbreaking and beautiful piece of writing from a man serving far away from the warmth of cameras, lights, and adoring fans. It wasn't just a birthday message. It was a love letter, a confession, a quiet promise from a man who couldn't be there in person but poured every heartbeat onto paper. Moon Ga-young turned a year older recently, and as fans flooded her social media pages with love and admiration, little did anyone know that something far more intimate and deeply moving was unfolding behind the scenes. Far away from the city's dazzle, in a place of solitude and routine, Cha Eun Woo sat down with a pen, a paper, and his heart laid bare. There's something timeless about handwritten letters. They carry a kind of sincerity that technology can't replicate. Each word is chosen, not hastily typed. Each sentence feels like it carries weight. And in Cha Eun Woo's case, every single line was soaked with longing, memory, and unspoken affection. The letter began simply. He addressed her not with her full name, but with a nickname only the closest would know. A name filled with warmth and familiarity. He spoke of how the barracks were colder than he expected and how the nights felt especially long. But it wasn't the weather that chilled him the most, it was the distance. The knowledge that he wouldn't be able to see her smile on her special day. That he couldn't watch her laugh with friends or light the candles on her cake. He imagined it all, down to the color of the dress he thought she might wear, and confessed that he replayed that image 100 times in his mind just to feel close to her. He didn't talk much about the hardships of the military. He didn't want to dampen her mood. Instead, he filled the letter with memories. Quiet ones. Like that one time they sat silently watching the stars from a rooftop, sharing a single can of soda, their fingers brushing but never quite holding. He remembered how she'd leaned her head on his shoulder and how he wished time would freeze right then. One of the most touching parts of the letter was when he apologized, not for being away, because that was duty, but for not telling her sooner how deeply he felt. He confessed that before leaving, he wrote and rewrote a letter more than 20 times but never sent it. Because how do you say, "I think I'm in love with you" when you're about to disappear for a long time? And yet, on her birthday, he found the courage. He told her that she was the kind of person who made even silence feel warm. That even when she said nothing, her presence could fill a room with comfort. That being around her felt like spring, even in the coldest season. Fans who later heard parts of the letter, thanks to someone close to them who respectfully shared snippets, said they cried reading it. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. It was raw. And in today's fast-paced world of texts, likes, and emojis, here was a man bearing his heart the old-fashioned way. Moon Ga-young, ever graceful and private, didn't say much publicly, but those close to her said she was moved beyond words. She was seen holding the letter for hours, quietly smiling, her eyes shining with emotions that didn't need translation. It wasn't just a birthday letter. It was a window into the heart of someone who truly saw her, not just as the elegant actress on screen but as a woman with depth, kindness, fears, and dreams. And what made this story even more profound was the history they shared. Fans have long speculated about the special connection between Cha Eun Woo and Moon Ga-young. From their incredible chemistry on screen to their comfortable rapport behind the scenes, many wondered if what they saw was more than just acting. There were glances that lingered a bit too long, inside jokes that only the two seemed to understand, and moments when the world around them seemed to fade. Neither of them ever confirmed anything, but sometimes, actions speak louder than words. In interviews, Eun Woo always spoke highly of Moon Ga-young. He often called her someone who grounded him, who made him feel like he could be himself without pretense. And Moon Ga-young once said in an interview that working with Cha Eun Woo felt like coming home after a long day, familiar, comforting, and safe. So when this letter surfaced, it didn't feel sudden. It felt like the next chapter of a story we all secretly hoped was true. One line from the letter stood out to many. I don't know what the world will look like when I return, but I hope you'll still be there, waiting, not because you have to, but because you want to. That sentence stayed with people. It's the kind of vulnerability that most people are too scared to show. Yet here was Cha Eun Woo, heart open, asking not for a promise, but for a possibility. He didn't demand, didn't beg. He simply hoped. And sometimes, hope is the most romantic thing of all. As the days passed, fans started creating beautiful fan art and letters of their own, celebrating this touching gesture. Many wrote poems inspired by the letter, some shared stories of long-distance love they were currently enduring, and others just thanked him for reminding everyone that love, in its purest form, still exists. Of course, many are now wondering what Moon Ga-young will do next. Will she respond? Will she wait? Will she speak? Maybe she won't say anything at all. Maybe her response will come in the form of a quiet visit, a kept promise, or a whispered yes when the time is right. Love doesn't always need a microphone. Sometimes, the loudest answers are the silent ones. One thing is clear, something deep connects these two. And whether it turns into a grand romance or remains a bittersweet memory, the love between them has already touched thousands. The story doesn't end with the letter. In fact, it feels like a new beginning. Fans are now rallying behind them, not in a pushy way, but in a supportive, tender way. Many have begun calling it the love that waits, because that's exactly what it feels like. A love that doesn't demand instant gratification, a love that isn't afraid of time or distance. A love that is patient, kind, and quietly hopeful. And if we know anything about Moon Ga-young, it's that she understands the value of emotional depth. She has always carried herself with grace, sensitivity, and quiet strength. If anyone can hold on to a love like this, it's her. As for Cha Eun Woo, this letter may be just a glimpse into the emotional growth he's undergoing during his time in service. Away from fame and flashing cameras, he's rediscovering himself, confronting his own feelings, and finding the courage to be vulnerable. There's something deeply poetic about it all. An idol-turned-soldier writes a heartfelt letter to an actress known for her emotional range, and somewhere in the middle of their separate worlds, love is trying to find its way. It's the kind of story that makes people believe again. Believe that sometimes, love doesn't shout. It whispers. That sometimes, birthdays are not just about gifts and parties, but about realizing who truly remembers you even when they're far away. That sometimes, the people who matter most are the ones who dare to write, even when the world tells them to forget. So on this special occasion, let's raise our hearts in celebration, not just of Moon Ga-young's birthday, but of a love story still unfolding. Let's celebrate the bravery of a man who chose sincerity over silence. Let's cherish the quiet strength of a woman whose smile can speak volumes. And let's all take a moment to believe, just a little more, in love that waits. To Moon Ga-young, happy birthday. May your days be filled with warmth, joy, and the kind of love that feels like home. And to Cha Eun Woo, thank you for reminding us that even in the coldest of places, the heart can still burn bright. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but tonight, we hold on to this moment, this letter, this hope. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this story if it touched your heart. Thank you for being part of our journey. Until next time, stay kind, stay hopeful, and never stop believing in love that waits.